What's going on, guys? My name is Triforce Addiction. Welcome back to another COD mobile video. So today I want to discuss something that will be changing Call of Duty forever in the near future. So as you guys remember, I think I think prior to Season 1 being released for 2025, we did get an update that was actually going to change the ranked system in such a way that basically a lot of people are going to have to adjust, let's be honest. Ranked modes are in, I would say, most, if not all, multiplayer games out there. There's always going to be some sort of competitive thing about online matches, whether it be Mario Kart, whether it be Super Smash Bros, Mortal Kombat, Valorant, Overwatch. All those have ranked modes, but one thing that they do also have in common, whether or not, even if it's in the game implemented or not, is a restrictions list. Restrictions are usually in ranked modes to kind of keep things balanced and, just to ensure that players don't just flock to only one option because it's the easiest option there. And it just overall makes the experience a lot more, or I guess the competitive experience a lot more genuine. And when I say genuine, I mean like you gotta, like when you're playing online, like a ranked mode, you actually get the genuine sense of who's the better player or who's not the better player. Whether or not they have better aim, better strategies, better actual just movement skills in general, you get the sense that maybe there might be someone that's lower or superior to you, or just as good as you are. It's where wins are not defined by what weapon you use solely, it's defined mainly by your skill. And for a little over 5 years, COD Mobile has unfortunately not been one of those games. And look, I'm not gonna shit on the entire ranked community and say that, oh, they suck, they only use meta weapons, just to get an easy win. I'm not going to say that because I'm sure like most of them would stomp my ass out in a heartbeat. There's people on controller that are like way better than I am right now. But in this game, it's a little bit different because we haven't had a restrictions list ever. The only time we ever do have restrictions is if there is like a massive tournament between pro teams and they've all agreed on a certain restriction list of like what they're not allowed to use. But I'm talking about a system that's implemented in the game to prevent users from actually using the most overpowered thing and just simply getting an easy win. COD Mobile unfortunately has not had a system like that, and for a long time the ranked community has kind of suffered because of that. We had 2 whole straight years of people just non-stop using the CBR. We have nothing but fast switching snipers in search and destroy ranked, or even in casual search and destroy. It's kind of just a mess, and you can't really tell a person's skill when they're just always using the easiest option that there is. I know a lot of you guys could argue, well, that's what the meta is. I mean, that's what it's for. It's the most tactical option available, whatever it's fucking whatever it stands for. But I mean, there's a limit, right? It's like when you're when you're more skilled than the player that you're going against and they're only killing you because of what weapon they're using, yeah, it's kind of going to be a problem. And I feel a lot of people feel the same way. Think about this. You get into a hardpoint ranked game or even just a normal hardpoint game and you're doing so well at first, right? You're 50 points above the enemy team. And then suddenly out of nowhere, they switch to a weapon that's like just insta kills you. And you end up losing the game like after all the progress you have made. From feeling on top of the world to just feeling dumbstruck. I'm sure a lot of you guys that have played ranked or even just played a normal game of team deathmatch or whatever the case may be has felt this in a certain way. But ask yourself this. How many times right after that happened, how many times have you guys actually said, oh, they only won because of the weapon that they're using? And I'm no saint. I have said that so many times. Fuck it. I've said it like a week ago. Point is, it happens to everyone. And it happens to me almost every single fucking time I lose. Of course, like, I know that sounds pretty fucking, I guess, narcissistic. But, there are times where I do blame myself. I'm just like, fuck, maybe if I did what they did, I probably would have. Which is actually a video I do want to make later on, talking about that. But I do want to discuss this right now, because I know a lot of you guys have felt that same way, especially in ranked. Oh, well, we lost that search and destroy because everyone on the other team were fast switch snipers. It's never, oh shit, well, they were better than us. We got outplayed. That's an issue that COD Mobile has had for a very long time. But I think by the time season 3 comes around, that might be less of a thing. because they recently announced, well, prior to season 1, it's not really that recent, but a while ago they basically announced that they're finally going to have a restriction list for ranked mode, meaning that, you know, certain overpowered attachments, guns, or whatever the case may be, will be banned to make the competitive scene a little bit more bearable. When I heard this news, I actually was kind of ecstatic because I actually, for once, wanted to play ranked because I know I wouldn't be spammed on or whatever the case may be. I mean, that's kind of the main reasons why I don't play ranked in the first place. It's like I could make legendary anytime I wanted to. It's not hard. Anyone could fucking do it. The reason why I don't do it, and let's be honest, I mean, my definitive reason is because of just the meta. You know, like I'm a man of variety. I can't stand it when people just stick to the easiest option that they could find. In my eyes, when I see someone just spamming meta all the time, it's like I don't really see them with any respect at all, because it's just like, you know, you got to where you are because you chose the easiest path. And at least in my eyes alone, that's all you'll ever be seen as. Just someone that took the easy path instead of challenging themselves, using different weapons, and actually dominating very well with those weapons that may not be as great. And look, I completely understand ranked is toxic as fuck, so sometimes you have to be toxic in order to get yourself the victory. I understand that. But when you're using it in situations where it's not even needed, or you know for a fact you're gonna win either way, it's like, come the fuck on. But maybe that's just a personal issue of mine. But in ranked modes, yeah, it's become quite a bit of an issue because it's just the same thing over and over again. We can never really tell who is the better player. And that's something that does need to change overall. I mean, I don't know how far they're gonna take it with this. They could completely ban guns, all like certain guns altogether, or maybe they might ban an attachment. So, for example, with the USS 9 currently being meta, they might just ban that 32 round mag that gives it more range and power, but you could still use the 40 or 50 round mag. You know, stuff like that. Like they'll restrict certain guns to at least keep them balanced as possible. And this doesn't really have to apply to just the meta weapons. This could also apply to off meta weapons such as the ASM-10 with the Branson barrel. They could restrict that barrel so you're only forced to just use the weapon the way that it is. The possibilities with this are kind of endless, and it actually does incentivize players to actually think about what they actually want to use instead of just going online and saying, oh, well, I guess I'll just use the BP-50. Oh, wait, no, I'll just use the USS-9. So for the first time in this game's history, I hope, we could actually decide for ourselves what we actually want to use in a competitive mode. What we think, in our personal opinions, is the best option for victory. And then eventually it'll just all boil down to who has the best moon, who has the best aim, who has the best reaction time and tactics. And yeah, that's honestly how ranked should have been from day one. I mean, if you really think about it, like think of like some alternate universe where that was implemented day one. Think about how different this game would be. I'm not sure if the game would prosper or if the game would fail because of it, but I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility that this game could have been a better thing. I mean, especially during the you know, I guess the darker times in COD Mobile when we had persistence or when we had those one weapon metas, you know, stuff like that. I mean, having a restrictions list probably would have been a good thing during those dark times. I know I'm being a little bit over dramatic by saying dark times, but let's be honest, those were fucking dark times. And look guys, just because we do have a restrictions list now, well at least coming soon, it doesn't mean like there's not going to be no meta anymore and just every weapon is viable. Obviously, there's still going to be a superior weapon out there. It may not be the USS 9 or it may not be the BP-50, but there will be one that probably reigns like supreme over them all. But what this basically means is that there'll be more options to fight against those specific metas. For me personally, I usually call those showstopper weapons. I mean, like, you know, if I'm getting pounded by USS 9 users or BP-50 users, I usually just switch to the Branson ASM-10 and just basically, like, stomp their asses to the fucking ground. That's the best way I could put it. Or if that fails, I could just use a long-range ADS bullet spread type of echo and just completely destroy them like that. I mean, look, I'm not going to say I'm a saint and just always use off-meta weapons. I do sometimes just for fun, Very rarely I actually do that, and sometimes out of necessity. I'm human. Everyone does it. Sometimes people just do it just to let out their anger from a loss that they had previously. That's me a lot. But for me personally, I think it's gonna change the game a lot, and I actually do want to play ranked during this time just to see how it is. I want to be there for that historical moment. What I'm hoping for the most, specifically for search and destroy to be changed like that, like take off fast switch, take off fucking amped, or like ban amped from search and destroy, so people can't fast switch anymore and they just have to rely on having to bolt the weapon naturally. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of search and destroy, but it could be fun at times, you know, at least if you're like dominating. But most of those times they cannot be enjoyable because of just how OP the snipers are and how easily you could just die to them. Again, I'm a man of variety. I think every weapon deserves to have a shot to shine, even if they're not as great as like the USS-9. But let me know what you actually think about this type of situation. I know a lot of you guys have been playing ranked since the start of the game, or maybe you just recently started playing, but well, how do you guys actually feel about this change? Because I'm genuinely curious. Let me know in the comment section what you think, and yeah, I'll see you guys next time, guys. Have a good one.